everybody. I'm Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man, and everybody's got a price for lazy booking. Hey, this is your Olympic hero, Kurt Angle, and you're listening to Lazy Booking. No, it's true. It's damn true. Ho! Hey, folks, I'm WWE Hall of Famer Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and if you want to know what's going on in wrestling, check out Lazy Bookings. Ho!
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a brand new edition of Lazy Booking right here on A2DRadio.com, brought to you by Gibson Mayer LLC, your certified public accounts located at 301 Oxford Valley Road in Yardley, PA. Give them a call, 215-369-3300. Remember, tax season will be here before you know it, so be ready, be prepared, and call Gibson Mayer.
Thought you were going to hit my phone there, Maddie.
Oh, don't worry. Don't worry. I made sure I didn't.
What's up, fam? Niche night on A2DRadio.com. Live from the Real Talk studios with the Ginger Gang. Maddie Sensuti, your boy Chrome. Over here on the ones and twos, we got a mystery partner by the name of Mr. Frank Vespi.
Hey, yo.
Hey, yo.
Our surprise buddy.
He's here to bother us at work live.
Woohoo! Yeah, this is going to be very fun, especially 2 weeks into AEW Dynamite. I've been following AEW probably since Double or Nothing, so it's going to be very interesting finally talking about AEW weekly shows.
Absolutely, yeah. It's going to be a part of the show now. So we're looking forward to talking about that, and I know that's Frank's big thing now, so Frank will be able to join in a lot on that part. But listen, our topic of conversation, which is brought to you by Dr. Paul Vidal, our doctor over at Specialized Physical Therapy. You can find them on the web, specializedphysicaltherapy.com. Physical locations in Burlington, Cherry Hill, and Princeton, New Jersey. No appointment needed. Specialized Physical Therapy. Check them out. Topic of conversation, Maddie. WWE Hell in a Cell was a disaster. Agree? Disagree?
Did you put disaster in giant bold lettering?
I probably should have.
With exclamation points at the end.
Spoiler alert, probably should have. But I did not this time around. But we're on Instagram, Periscope, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Ready to talk to the fam. And if whatever reason you don't catch it live or you have to dip out and you want to get a podcast version, guys, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Play, right? Are we on Google Play now?
iTunes, I believe, as well. On top.
Are we on iTunes yet? Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. Oh, I
We're
thought we
working
were.
on it.
Oh, okay then.
We're in the process.
Oh, we're still
we're
flirting with them.
we're figuring it all out.
We're flirting with them. We haven't gone on the first date yet. I got
SoundCloud.
you.
We're on SoundCloud. There's a lot of different avenues. Just on all of them, guys. Go on, follow A2D, subscribe. You know, when you're on the YouTube, listen, there's a little bell up in the top right corner. Click it. You get the notifications when we go live. All of our programming here on A2D Radio.
Exceptional programming.
Exceptional programming. We've added a soccer show, which I'm really excited about.
Wow.
And I got to say, listen, I don't know a lot about soccer. I do enjoy watching it. But I learned a little bit from the guys the other day. It just started Tuesday. It goes on before Birds of a Feather, which is fun for us. We've been here for 2 years. We haven't had anybody on before us. So it's great that there's more programming, more content being added all the time.
You never know. I don't know what's more surprising, the fact that a wrestling show was added to A2D or the fact that a soccer show was added to A2D, knowing Tom. But, hey, man.
Listen, the voice of the people, they wanted it. They wanted wrestling a couple years ago. Big Daddy Tom, Thomas Kenny McMahon are known. Went out. He bought wrestling. Now you got two programs within this very ring.
Yep.
And then he goes back out. And the fans said they wanted soccer. The fam said they wanted soccer. And, hey, lo and behold, A2D doesn't disappoint.
Yep.
We got a soccer program for you guys.
So if you are a fan of the pitch, feel free to tune in on that.
Yeah, and you know what? While you're at it, guys, get your A2D gear. I mean,
I'm all about
the plugs.
Yeah.
You know, let's make
Let's
sure.
Mick Foley this. Yeah, come on, completely.
But listen, Hell in a Cell. So we're going to talk about Hell in a Cell. We're also going to backtrack at some point because, again, we with the shift of programming all across the board that started last week with AEW on Wednesday nights, NXT being live on USA now, and then SmackDown moving to Fox on Friday night, we don't get to recap SmackDown.
No.
Live.
No.
Or after.
We get to recap whatever the hell Raw is, and AEW and NXT.
Well, listen, this week was a throwaway show if I've ever seen one. But, yeah, I mean, it's awesome. We're going to be able to do that. We're going to be able to now go back and reflect. And listen, we wouldn't be doing our jobs if we did not go back, even if it is a backtrack prior to the pay-per-view, and discuss a lot that happened on Fox, which I thought overall was a fantastic show.
Yeah.
And we'll touch on the points there. But listen, we're here. Hell in a Cell. Opens up Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks. And I'm not going to answer the poll question yet because we're going to probably very quickly answer our feelings as we go through and review the pay-per-view. So, or special event, whatever the hell they call these damn things now. Network specials.
A thing.
The thing.
A
thing.
thing.
We're
A
reviewing
thing.
a thing.
It's a network thing.
It is a network thing. Listen, but yeah, show opens up with what I would consider a very, very hot start. Well, before we even get into that, 4 matches announced ahead of time for this program. And about 5 or 6 hours before we go live, they drop on Twitter basically an entire match card of matches that have no build, no storyline. You could argue that Corbin and Gable, they have been working on something with that, so that makes sense. But I believe you had Orton and Ali, which they tried to build something off of that from something previous.
But that was a very good match, though.
It was a great match. Not going to take away from it. But there was no build to it. And Andy from In This Very Ring, Mr. Ritz from In This Very Ring, me and him had a little back and forth privately. Not like an argument, but a disagreement on some things that I think I swayed him that he doesn't consider because he's not a big sports guy, and there's nothing wrong with that. But to not build your card at all. And one of the things when we were discussing is, my issue, not that it wasn't a great quality match, but that there was zero build to this. It's very difficult to get invested in something that has absolutely zero build. And we're going to talk about that. His reasoning for what he liked and why he thought it was done right. And then when we went back and forth and I explained, I think he understood where I was coming from. And I think the fam will understand as well. Yeah. And please, as we go through the matches, guys, interact with us. Drop in the comment section how you guys felt about some of the programming or some of the matches that we saw and overall the card pay-per-view or the pay-per-view card. So opens up Becky Lynch versus Sasha Banks. I think we're all surprised at the result of this match where Becky came out on top.
Yes.
But I want to talk about the match itself. This match was friggin' phenomenal.
It was.
It was outstanding, this match.
It was better than Sasha's Hell in a Cell match with Charlotte.
Clearly, and I agree. And I thought that was a pretty good match, too. But you go back, and when you talk about matches, Maddie, like Hell in a Cell, or you talk about the Money in the Bank gimmicks, and all these different things, it's become a staple. We're 22 years now in since the very first Hell in a Cell match.
I know.
And what was considered a feature match previously and still is, now has its own pay-per-view that's featuring the matches. It's very difficult to find an innovative way to present the match and tell a great story.
Well, it's tough because of 2 reasons. One, I feel like nowadays with a lot more safety measures that they take, you can't go as far as you used to in the Hell in the Cell. Obviously, they don't like the idea of people going to the roof anymore. They used to do it all the time. They don't do it anymore like they used to. Mm-hmm. I understand the worry and the safety concerns that there could be because it's a bigger cell, actually, than it used to be. It's a lot taller than the original Hell in the Cell was. So the risk of what if the cage broke? What if someone almost fell off? What if something bad happens up there and they can't get down from the cage? Which they take all that into consideration now. And unless you obviously have some pull with Vince, you're not going to the top. Period.
Right.
So you can't do that.
Like we saw with Shane, obviously.
Yeah, that's a different story. And that was Undertaker with him, and it was WrestleMania. So it's a different story. But obviously you don't see that no more. And you don't see the crazier spots like you used to, like people falling off the side of the cell. They don't do that as much anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They have done it, but they don't do it nearly as much, like.
Well, the structure's so much taller now.
Yeah,
too.
that's the whole point.
They'll do it, but they're going to climb down quite a bit before they do it. They're like halfway down.
Yeah, it's a totally different story than what it used to be. So, yes, in that regard, you add all that in, and then plus the side of it that we've seen almost everything that can possibly be done to a human being inside the cell. Because, think about it, we've seen bloodbaths between Brock Lesnar and The Undertaker is the first one that comes to mind. That was just an absolute gore fest of just blood everywhere. And then you saw matches where you would see Shawn Michaels and Triple H just do anything humanly possible to steal the show, and they completely did in their match. It was very long, too. But, you've seen almost everything that can be done to a human being inside of the cell. You really have to get creative with it nowadays. You really do, because so much has already been done by so many great talent over the years. Mm-hmm. It is amazing that they did find new spots that never had been done before, and the fact that they were able to get away with a little bit more of like, okay, maybe the guys can't do this because they wouldn't be able to jump up that high. We can, so we're going to try that. Or, okay, maybe a little bit more flexibility here. Let's try this now. They did use a lot of the advantages of, okay, we can get a little bit more air when we jump. We could do a little bit more of this. We could do a little bit more of that. They used it all to their advantage. I'm like, that is the perfect example of just taking a match and making it your own, basically.
Yeah, I mean, some of the spots in this match were phenomenal.
They were, man.
First of all, I would say that they managed to find a way to bring the brutality back to the match in this.
They did, yes.
I mean, intended or not, it looked like Becky got a couple receipts in on Sasha. There was one point where she clearly she took a kendo stick right to the back of the head at one point.
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was brutal, but the spot that I really made me jump out of my seat was the setting up of the chair in the corner with the kendo sticks, propping it up, setting Sasha on top, in which, it's funny too, because I don't know that that's a spot they could do with guys, because the kendo sticks are probably going to break through, so the weight dynamic of it.
Yeah.
But the creativity of that, and then the absolute missile of a drop kick that she dropped off the apron to her, that spot was awesome. And again, it's finding ways to tell the story in a way that's never been done before.
Absolutely.
I thought both women, Sasha included, and I'm tipping the cap here, guys, looked spectacular in this match. And I'm not the biggest Sasha fan, but
really,
and I expected Sasha to win. If Sasha would have won this match with the way that this went down, there would have been absolutely zero disappointment. As a fan, not just saying because I thought she would win. Surprised by the result?
I was, because of two reasons. One, you build Sasha up to come back to have this big opportunity in this big spot in this match, and you did the schmaz finish at Clash of Champions, so you have to have a winner here. So it's like, okay, so obviously they're building this up. They're extending it a month to get it to a Hell in a Cell match. So Sasha goes over because it would make sense, right? Because then Becky could come from behind, come from back, being an underdog to win back her title at some point or something like that. But no, they didn't go that route. So then the other confusion kicks in now is, okay, where do you go from here? Because now that you have burnt that little, bullet in the chamber, you didn't pull the trigger on it, and now what do? You can't put the belt on Sasha now. It's like, because now if you do it, then it's just like, then what stopped you from doing it at Hell in the Cell? So now the real question is, okay, so what are you doing? Like, where are you going with this? Are you waiting to the draft to bring somebody over from Smackdown to do something? That's what I'm wondering, if they're doing something in that regard. Right. Why they kept the belt on Becky.
Yeah. They're going to need names on Raw.
They are.
I still believe, despite what people want to think, that they are going to make every effort to still make Raw a big show. Everybody's immediately deeming SmackDown the B show. Raw the B show. I think they're going to make every effort to not have a B show, period. Particularly with AEW now being around and obviously NJPW and all these different things. Impact's coming back to TV, even though, I mean, it's Impact. But but regardless, there are alternatives that are going to be out there.
Yes.
And I do believe, and there is a soft spot for Raw. Raw is the staple of the company. It's what took WWE, WWF to the next level.
Well, not only that, now it's transcended that. It's the staple of pro wrestling on cable television because it's no longer, since WCW closed down, there's no longer NWA TBS 605, time slot for wrestling anymore. So it's like, Raw has become the new staple of cable pro wrestling.
Hey, listen, it's what opened the door for WCW all those years ago, for AEW now, for Impact to be on any kind of a cable network in a primetime slot, whether it's a highly viewed station or not. Spike TV and Pop TV and every other network that they've been on. What the hell was the last name? That channel that nobody gets, where they're getting 100,000 viewers maybe a week.
Wait, what's this channel?
The one that they were off. It's only on DirecTV.
Is it the Del Rey Network?
No.
No, that was Lucha Underground.
That's Lucha.
Yeah.
Pursuit. Was it Pursuit?
Yeah.
The
Wait,
hell?
what? Exactly.
I don't even know.
Which, by the way, quick shout out. I'm really happy to see Impact back on television. I know the roster is different from a year ago when we really saw it, but they have good talent there, and they were putting on. It's such a shame that it became such a disaster corporately. All those years behind Dixie Carter, Billy Corgan, and everybody else who had a hand in on it at some point after 2009 when they started dipping big time, horrifically.
Almost about to go out of business.
A lot. Every year it seemed like they were.
1 year it would be like Jeff Jarrett gets purchases Impact, and now it's rebranded as Global Force, and then that went out of the wazoo. Then Billy Corgan decides to buy from what was it? From Dixie Carter.
He tried to, and then Dixie swerved him somehow, and he never actually bought
Right.
it. I don't know how Dixie pulled that off because she clearly doesn't know what the hell she was doing. Oh my god!
Listen, I mean, they've been through the ringer. A lot of it self-imposed, but the programming they were putting on before they went away, and it's because, and we've talked about it, they took a step back and said, we're not going to be Nitro or even Thunder.
I think that's a good thing.
We're not going to do this on our own. We need to team up and work with Lucha Underground and AAA and these different companies. It opened up opportunity for them to have new talent, feature talent. A lot of that talent now you're seeing on AEW.
Well, even to that aspect, WCW did work with other promotions.
Sure.
I mean, how many times did they work? They worked with NJPW for
WWE
years.
did too. They worked with ECW at one point.
They did, and it's not uncommon for the big companies to work with other promotions. Only difference is WCW worked with NJPW as more of these are two big companies working together. One is just strictly Japan, the other one is global. Whereas WWE was clearly using ECW as kind of like a minor league system for them, but
And then there was that brief NWA invasion as well in the late '90s.
Oh, that whole
Smoky Mountain.
Smoky Mountain was another
Wrestling.
great place where they found a lot of really great talent. Guys like D'Lo Brown came out of there and such like that.
I mean, even now, it's more out there now since the 10th anniversary show, but they've worked with Evolve
and Progress.
Yeah. People don't realize the talent that's come out of Evolve until that 10th anniversary show where they brought some of those guys back and showed past clips of when they worked there. The Adam Coles, Johnny Garganos, Matt Riddles, Drew Gulak, all these guys, Akira Tozawa. You look at these guys and they all stepped foot and went through there and kind of they were the, when NXT was truly AAA of WWE, so to speak, they were the double A.
Yeah.
That was a stepping stone for them.
Yeah. Right.
So shout out to them. I haven't seen the programming to know if they've been able to maintain. I hope they have. I know they still have guys like Killer Cross in the company and whatnot. But I hope that they can have some success now being on Mark Cuban's network, Access TV, which I believe starts in about 3 weeks. What they've been doing, and I think I mentioned last week, their last 3 or 4 pay-per-views they're running basically for free in their time slot. So that I guess it's smart people can kind of catch up on the storylines that have been going on since they essentially went off of television. They're airing their major pay-per-views. Because I think they only do one every 2 or 3 months now.
Yeah, because I don't think they could. I don't think they could have afforded it. I even don't really think they were pay-per-views. They were just on the network that they were on.
And
really.
then they
weren't
did
even
like a
doing
Twitch
pay-per-views.
show here and there.
Yeah, they were doing that too for a period of time. Impact's been. I'll tell you, man. You know how they say a cockroach can't die, and that when an atomic bomb goes off, it's the only thing that's going to live? That's Impact Wrestling in the wrestling world. An atomic bomb could go off, and WWE could be gone.
Right.
Somehow, some way, Impact Wrestling is still breathing. I don't know how the fuck it is, but it is.
Exactly. Depending on where Impact's going to go, there's probably going to be some documentary on all right, the rise and fall and rise and fall and rise and fall of Impact.
Seriously.
It's going to go over and over again.
And
It's like, yeah.
And you know what? I would so watch that. That would probably be so interesting to see that.
To think that with TNA, now the Impact, that they could have chased WWE at one point, even though ratings-wise, they weren't there yet. But when it became clear that there was something brewing and then went to kaput, it's truly fascinating to see the development of that promotion.
I mean, I truly believe that if they hadn't had that setback about a year ago where they had to go to the Pursuit Network, whatever that is.
Yeah. I've never heard of it until tonight.
Listen, they were never going to chase WWE.
Yeah.
But could they have been an alternative to Ring of Honor?
Oh,
and
yeah.
on these kind of programs? Absolutely. Were they putting on fantastic programs with guys like Eli Drake, with Killer Cross, with Johnny, I almost said Johnny. I don't even know what to call him. Johnny Nitro, John Morrison, Johnny
whatever
whatever.
the hell his fucking name
Johnny
is
Impact was what it was.
Right.
Johnny
Absolutely. They were putting on high quality. The Lucha Bros, who are now in AEW, were a staple at that point.
Penta was a former Impact champion.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Really cool, and I hope that it works out for them. And listen, I'm sure we're going to come up with some segment because there's so much wrestling now to talk about.
Yeah, there is.
I have to figure out a way to get it all in.
NWA is bringing studio wrestling back.
And that was brought up in here by John Danzo. He asked, have we seen NWA Power Hour on YouTube?
I have not yet.
I have not, but I have seen the pictures of the set.
It's really cool.
It is awesome. Like it's
so cool.
When you go to have you ever been to WWE Access? They do recreate certain sets. I've seen they had Piper's Pit set up there, and it's kind of cool to be able to step into that world, even if it's just a small set that they have set up, a staging.
Yeah.
Kind of just set in, and you can take a minute and just kind of be like, man, you get look through Piper's eyes or whoever it is. You have fun with that stuff.
Yeah.
When I saw the pictures sent to me of the first taping they were doing, I'm like, yo, that's a program I would love to be able to sit in the crowd in that setting at least once and just kind of feel like I was a fan in the 80s of what the whole area that I'm watching.
It's so cool because they have the old NWA mat, the old yellow letters with the blue background on it. They have the flags set up like they used to back in the day when they would do the studio wrestling, and that was the main program for WCW back in the day. It was going to become WCW, but it was the NWA television at 605, and it was that setup.
It was NWA's World Championship Wrestling.
Yeah, and it was so cool. It's just wow, that's so neat. They have the whole old setup and everything. It's awesome.
Yeah. I'm going to get to some of the comments because we are flying here on the comments. Really flying. Holy smack.
Yeah.
Roscoe, what's up, boys? I'm ready for the WWE draft. We are too. We're going to recap that next week. Povia, this just in. Jericho picked me to join the inner circle. Congratulations. We're a little bit jealous.
And we're going to bring you a bit of the bubbly.
A little bit of the bubbly.
A little bit of the bubbly.
John Danzo says, hey, guys, glad to see you always. I need to know who predicted that Cain Velasquez because you picked a winner. So I didn't. Listen, and I said it last week. I can't take the credit for it. I simply shared that thought with you guys, and I said it was actually my buddy Nick Staskin who tossed the idea out there, and an instant he did, I was sold on it. And I didn't take credit for it last week. I won't take credit for it. But, so who came up with that idea? It was my buddy Nick Staskin, who is a wrestling and MMA fan. So it was one of those things. I think it was like Thursday, and he said, I don't know why, but just tossing this out there. What if this was an intro? Because we were racking our mind. Why? What? We get that you want to make Brock uncheerable against Kofi, but there has to be a backstory to it.
We should also bow our heads in respect for Kofi's title reign.
Oh,
and the 12 seconds that it took
I don't want
to
to hear.
end
I don't want to
it.
hear crying about that. We'll talk about that.
I had to throw it out there.
I'm not a fan of how they booked that.
Because I love it because
Kofi deserved better.
I was seeing all this stuff about like R.I.P. Kofi Kingston and everything.
Ridiculous.
Oh my God.
Well, listen. I promise you, in the second half, or later in the first half, we will take the time to talk about Kofi.
Oh my God.
But no, I can't take credit for Cain Velasquez, guys, and I said it last week because I want it to be known that if it actually did happen, I wasn't ripping off someone else's idea. It was my best friend who had that idea, and I 100% was so sold on it when he said it that I wanted to share it with you guys so that it would give you something outside to think about. And holy shit, it actually happened.
So what that means is
not exactly how he said. We thought he would cost Brock the match. But regardless.
Right.
So what that means is that next time Nick predicts something, good chances are it may just come true.
Well, we talk about it a lot, and a lot of what ends up happening, it's the thing that we all agree on. If it makes a lot of sense, it's probably not going to happen.
Yes.
This was one of the few times
I mean,
it actually did happen.
I mean, it's typical WWE booking. What do you expect?
Yeah.
They don't believe in sensible things.
John Danzo says, if you think Hell in a Cell was bad, give me a hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, but will it be better than In Your House GFY?
Edwin
and we need to make it.
We haven't yet.
My buddy Edwin, he says he doesn't like American soccer. He thinks American soccer blows. Andy Ritter says, have a great show, guys. I'm going to try to jump in a little later. Hell in a Cell was absolute trash. First was great. First match was great. Second match was solid. Rest of it just bombed for me. John Danzo, WWE's new meaning, we wreck everything at Hell in a Cell.
We wreck everything. Good one.
That's a good one, John.
That is a good one.
Bill says the Friday night SmackDown main event was lame. It was all 20 seconds, and Hell in a Cell sucked. David Rosca, Hell in a Cell was so stupid, and he says that he's the greatest Universal Champion. You've never been the champion, Rosca.
But he's a champion in our hearts, damn it.
Okay, he's the planet's champion. Okay.
Woohoo!
He's California's champion. Bill Middlebrook says, what's up, bro? Is that you, Frank?
Hey, yo.
Hey, yo. He says, why so quiet? We can barely hear you. I don't know what he's talking about.
I think he's joking.
Bill says, A2D Live, the manager blew that game.
Oh, about the Nats Dodgers series.
Yeah. Hey, I don't give a shit. Go Cards. Go Cards, baby.
We believe in you. You're our only hope.
Thank you. Mr. Brodo, also go Cardinals, kind of, LOL. John says, also, like I said earlier in the chat, the Bailey will start to showing a dark side. After she lost, she was crying and telling fans to shut up. I think Bailey's coming. Well, I don't care about it now. That's the problem with it, John. It doesn't matter if it comes later on. It's not good storytelling. It's been lame. It's frustrating. It's typical WWE. We talked about the Sasha and Bailey turn, right? Did they wait too long to pull the trigger on it? And then it really never did come.
But it doesn't matter because if they did it now, it would be stupid.
Right.
So.
It's like I don't care. That's my problem. Is I don't care now. The fucking side ponytail needed to go a long time ago.
It's the side ponytail.
I don't. Why is it every time Bailey and Sasha come up, my voice gets pissed off?
It's because you just can't stand that side ponytail.
Somebody come out and cut up the Bailey buddies, please. Anybody.
I've never seen you this mad since I bring up Tito Santana.
Well, you know what? Tito might not be the worst thing now because I have to deal with Bailey in a side ponytail with inflatable Bailey buddies.
Not turning heel.
2 months in when it's ridiculous. Bill says they need a smaller cell. They can't do much higher action stuff. I think it's you kind of touched on it. It's kind of purposely
it's
mentally done that way.
Because here's the thing. If they still had the same size cell, you know what would happen. It would take the one person who has good pull with Vince to say, hey, can we go up to the roof? Like, yeah, and then they'll take it too far. And then someone will get hurt, worse than Mick Foley did. So
And it's not that they pick and choose spots. They did it
Yeah.
with Shane. We've seen Kevin Owens fall off the side of the cell.
the cage.
Last year.
I don't think it was a cell.
It was him and Seth last year in a Hell in a Cell.
It was, but I think that the matchup was a cage. I think it was not cell.
I'm pretty sure it was the cell.
I don't think it was, but either way, though, it doesn't matter. Either way.
Damn it, Maddie, don't doubt me.
We can always go to the network and solve it.
Bill says they don't want another Owen Hart incident. The cell is too big.
Yes, definitely don't.
Good point by A2D. Owen Hart was a different moment, maybe Mankind and Taker. Bill says his point is that it seems that for safety reasons they don't do the ceiling stuff anymore. I think we agree with that.
Yes.
There's a lot of unpredictability with that.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go on the network and they have one about Kane's debut at Hell in a Cell, and they go through the whole match, the dynamic of that match. They talk about being on top, and I've heard multiple interviews about how, with everything that happens on top, there's an unpredictability, and you saw it. I don't think Foley was supposed to go through the top of the cell.
No, this is what happened. It was the same cell that they used for Shawn and Taker. So the problem is that
It wasn't reinforced.
it wasn't reinforced, and you could see, if you actually look at that match, you can see zip ties breaking off.
You can, yeah.
On the top of the cell. So they didn't fix that thing at all. They didn't reassure it or rewire it or nothing. So, yeah, Shawn getting dropped on that cell is one thing. Shawn weighs about $150 back then because he was skinny as a rail. Mankind is 400 to 300 some pounds.
Well, he wasn't 400 pounds.
400 pounds. So
No, he's probably good. Probably 290 to 3. I mean, we could look up his weight.
You get my
then,
point, but point is that Mick weighed a
lot bigger guy.
lot more than
Right.
Shawn, and he went right through it because he falling onto that's just caging, and
Yeah.
it's being held together with zip ties. No shit, he fell through.
I mean, there's an
that, you know?
unpredictability, and they've talked about how in other interviews with guys who have been up on top of there. Hunter used to like to go up on top of the cell and do spots.
Yes.
Yeah.
They did do a spot with Cactus Jack where they did a pedigree on top, and it looks like the friggin' roof's going to come through again.
Yeah, but then they did do that spot where he falls through the cage, but this time you can tell they planned it because the whole thing fell
Correct.
with him, and
Correct.
he just went through the ring,
Which
for
was
the
a lot
padding.
safer than having something fall, and then essentially if it's tilting like this, that's what your body's going to do. If the whole thing's going down, your momentum's just going to take you straight down. It's a lot safer spot.
Yeah.
It's not a safe spot regardless, but it's a lot safer spot.
You can also tell too in the replay too that Mick kind of is getting ready to do the bump, whereas when it happened in '98, he was not ready at all, and that just happened.
Well, I mean, his tooth went through his lip.
Well, because the chair smacked him right in the face and took out his two front teeth. And both times you could look at the Undertaker. Undertaker's like, ah, shit, that wasn't supposed to happen.
So Brodo chimes in. What's up, Ryan? He
Chiming
says,
in from parts unknown.
Wait, what was it where it was like partes or Jericho says that.
Yeah.
Jericho in one of his DVDs or was the Ultimate War, the self-destruction of the Ultimate Warrior.
Oh,
the lost DVD, which I have.
The bad version of
It's
the Ultimate Warrior
the
DVD.
one that basically destroys him.
Yeah.
When he talks about Warrior, he says that he's from Partes Anunes or something like that. He makes up some like Mexican name or something.
You mean the DVD that Ultimate Warrior said 1 million times in his Hall of Fame speech? The DVD was wrong about me. I'm a nice guy.
The lost DVD. I have a copy of it though.
Keep that. It's a collector's
Oh, it is a
item.
collector's
Do you
item.
also have Hard Knocks? The Chris Benoit
do.
story.
I do. And I haven't.
You have 2 lost DVDs.
I haven't.
Woohoo!
I know. I don't even know what you're talking about. That doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Brodo says, from my
Oh.
understanding, they are going to structure Raw. It's a blank disc when you put it in.
Holy shit, man.
Yeah.
Boy, when they
But,
want to erase something, they really do.
Yeah.
It's like a self-destruction. This
This
message will self-destruct in 30 seconds.
Hi, this is Vincent Kennedy McMahon. This DVD will self-destruct.
In 30 seconds.
And then it explodes, and then you hear, "You're fired" at the end.
Brodo says, from my understanding, they're gonna structure Raw as the show based off of drama and storylines and have SmackDown built more around a big sports feel. Which, if that's the route they go, I'm totally down with that. I like that. He says both will be big shows, but just structured very differently. Kenny Shiflett, what's up, Kenny? Says AEW cleaned it up this week. Love the show. Hell in a Cell was fucked. I totally agree with you. I listen. There's no doubting that AEW this week was great.
Yeah.
Pretty much top to bottom. I will nitpick because I have a responsibility to nitpick, and there's not much. There's not much that I'm going to nitpick. Right. Me and Frank kind of had a little powwow before the show.
Did.
He already knows, and I'm really honestly, that's probably my only nitpick I'm going to have.
Yeah.
But I will. We will get to that when we get to AEW and NXT. But listen. Hats off, and both shows were good. NXT was not going to be on the same level because you weren't getting Adam Cole and Matt Riddle and that level. We know that. But I'll tell you what, the match quality again on NXT, Drew Gulak and Leo Rush was a really good freaking match.
The beauty of NXT, too, is that they have such a gigantic talent pool to draw from.
Yeah.
Whereas Raw and SmackDown, they may not to an extent because of the draft that'll be coming up.
Right.
It'll be a limitation.
And honestly, AEW at this point doesn't have the biggest talent pool to draw from either.
No.
You know, so I agree with you. You're not going to see the same thing in and out, and I kind of like that because I don't like overexposure on things. But we'll talk about it, I promise you. I think he was in last week. He's our AEW guy. Clanky says, what's good, my boys, or my guys?
Clink?
Clanky will be on later on for Hockey Happy Hour.
Oh, yeah.
Go Flyers, baby. Looking good.
Yeah. Stupid
Penguin fan. Raska asks where Brodo's at. He said parts unknown. This is actually, I'm glad that you brought this up, Raska. Seth Rollins said Matt Riddle sucks. So WWE, I don't know if I should save this, but whatever. We're totally off of this is how bad Hell in a Cell was.
We went off tangent completely.
So that's fine. We don't really need
Do you
want to
read Genius Expert's comments on YouTube? He's been calling every do they still call them divas?
Yeah.
All right, he's calling divas mean names.
No, they don't call them divas, but I'm not going to sit there and go through.
Well, probably one of the favorite ones is Bailey looks like a horse, but I disagree with that. The correct answer is Sarah Jessica Parker.
Yes, you got that one right. We will get over to the Facebook in a minute. Yeah. There's a show which was not really promoted, but I decided to watch it on Wednesday mornings. It's almost like their version of like a GMA or Fox in the Morning called The Bump. So the debut episode had Seth Rollins in studio, but it's kind of interesting. So it's kind of like their version of GMA. It's only Wednesday mornings, but it looks like it's filmed in like Wayne's World, like Wayne's basement. Like it's kind of weird, but it has like Matt Camp. Camp's from Busted Open Radio. Yeah. We actually, Matt's a really good guy. He, when the Rumble was here, he did some stuff with us over at
Xfinity, right?
Xfinity with A2D. So Matt's a great guy and a supporter of what we do.
So since they're filming in like Wayne's World, does that mean Aerosmith's going to show up and then do a special,
We're not worthy.
It does look like it's in a basement. It's really weird. With a big screen, though, that's next to them. But they had him on live in studio, and then they had, like, Charlotte. They had Kathy Kelly. They had Adam Cole. And there's somebody else I might be forgetting. But anyway, so they had Cole on, and this was promoting the match with Matt Riddle last week. And I watched this after, so I didn't even know the show was on. But it's interesting. So you see Seth Rollins, and I can show it to you because I actually filmed it on my phone to send it to somebody. Matt Riddle comes up, and he essentially says, like, that dude sucks. And he's like, put some shoes on. And then he says he has proven nothing. And he's talked about how he likes to shoot his mouth off to people online. It's a very interesting thing. It came out of nowhere. And I'm surprised that more people didn't make a thing of it. But if you want to, I'm telling you, go to the network. The Bump. They've only had 2 episodes. I didn't watch the second one yet. It was enough to intrigue me watching the first one that I want to watch again. And it's only once a week, so that makes it very easy. But just kind of see when Adam Cole is doing his interview, and Adam Cole praises Seth, and Seth praises Adam Cole. And he basically, Seth says, like, I'm an Adam Cole guy. Matt Riddle, he sucks. Go back and watch it. It's a really interesting segment for a minute there with Cole and Rollins. But I'm glad you brought that up because I wanted to bring that up. Andre Valentin Peruso says Matt's supposed to go to AEW next week. What's a good excuse to call out of work?
I mean, this isn't the work that I'm calling out on, so I'll come up with something, Andre. Don't worry.
And Matt's employers are watching.
No, they're not. I can guarantee you.
John says also
They somehow
I don't.
are still watching.
It's all right, Frank. Calm down.
John says also I don't know if you noticed they had a few head shots in the Sasha and Bailey match. I noticed it. I don't know if it was intentional, but I did say, did you see there was a couple?
I think
tough shots.
I think Becky gave a few receipts to Sasha because let's be honest here, there were a few chair shots that Sasha gave to Becky that were not worked. They were real. They were real shots on those ones.
Mr. Brodo says, I despise Bailey and the Bailey buddies with a passion of 1,000 suns. There, I said it. I'm with you. Raska says, Raska said, tell them all I said hi. Let me see here. John says, I also have those discs. They are holding up my table. talking about Hard Knocks, the one that doesn't actually exist.
Wait, what? Which one?
Talking about the Warrior DVD and Hard Knocks.
Oh, yeah, about that one guy. Noob Saibot, right?
Yeah.
Ah, got it.
Bill says, later, fellas, have a great night. Appreciate you chiming in, Bill. John says, also, they had the first casualty of Wednesday Night Wars. Jay and Silent Bob, they were supposed to go to do SmackDown, but they were told not to since they did AEW. I don't blame them. It's fine. I mean, listen, people like Jay and Silent Bob.
Right.
Kevin Smith.
Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes,
Jason Mewes. They're not big enough stars that it makes a difference for WWE. Yeah. Let's be real.
See, here's my thing when I saw that on the first episode of Dynamite. I was so confused by that bit. Like,
it was random.
It was out of nowhere. Like, like when I saw the crowd shots, I'm like, oh, Kevin Smith's there. And then I saw Jason Mewes. I'm like, oh, Jay and Silent Bob are here. Why are they here? And then the bit with Jack Evans and Angelico was so confusing. I'm like, wait, what? Like, I think Jack was like, yeah. I don't know. I don't know what that tag team.
I mean, honestly, maybe WWE watching, they're like, that was hot garbage. We're not putting those guys on our television.
But let's show you Hell in a Cell.
I thought it was going to lead to a match between Jack Evans and Angelico and Jay and Silent Bob.
Maybe it will.
Maybe a match with Private Party.
I mean, hey, they had Arrow and face off with what's his name.
Yeah.
What do you got over on the tube there, Frank?
Over on the tube, we got Raska and Genius Expert in the chat.
A little double dip for Raska.
So Raska says that he is the greatest Universal Champion.
He said that on Facebook.
And David Raska gives his prediction with the WWE draft. He says Seth Rollins will be drafted through SmackDown.
Agreed.
Then we got Genius Expert in quotes.
Okay.
He says Kobe over Jordan, Kobe the GOAT. And then he talks about the Eagles being overrated.
Wait. Actually, let me fix this. I don't agree. I agreed before the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Seth Rollins will not be on SmackDown because they're not taking – the only way that works is if they're going to switch the champions, which I'm not rolling out with Charlotte and Becky.
That's a different story.
They could swap the champions, but they are not taking Brock Lesnar off of Fox. And they're not stripping Seth, or they're not going to have two champions on one show and not one on another.
Right.
So I do not believe that you will see Seth. I thought, from what I thought was going to happen at Hell in a Cell, that we were going to get Seth there, but we're not.
It is what it is.
We're just going to leave it at that.
Yeah.
Go ahead, next comment.
And then Genius Expert keeps going on and on, saying 2017 Eagles over a week schedule and referees. But I have a huge problem with him. I have to ask him a question. What didn't I block you like 3 weeks ago?
Well, you can block him again, can't you?
Yeah, he's not saying mean things to us, so we're good.
Oh, okay.
But I blocked him 3 weeks ago on an episode of The Fix. So
nice.
Well,
so
listen, he's stuck 2 years in the past. I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
Listen, we still won. Congratulations
Yeah.
to us.
Okay.
Philadelphia Eagles won. We're good.
Yeah. And then he gives his comparisons. Like he calls Sasha Banks a goth. Charlotte looks like a Barbie doll. Becky looks like Chucky. Brock Lesnar is like a younger version of Dolph Lundgren. And the cream of the crop here, he's got Carmella is like schizophrenia.
So, bro, are you pulling chicks that are hotter than any of these girls? Because I doubt it.
I have no idea.
I mean, like let's be real. Like, listen, I don't like to talk about physical appearance on people. I talk about the side ponytail because it looks stupid for a heel to have a side ponytail. It's not me calling her ugly.
But do you ever see a horse with a side ponytail?
I guarantee this dude doesn't get tail even remotely close to anything like this. Like, let's have real talk. So,
Now,
I mean,
but
whatever, bro.
But I'm confused. He said Sasha was a goth. I'm like, Sasha's a lot of things, but goth is definitely not one of them. I think you're a little off base on that one.
No, it's a troll.
So he is a
clearly.
troll.
I know. I was just like, what?
But probably one of the funnier ones is Carmella is like schizophrenia. Her hair color and personality in the WWE has changed multiple times.
Okay.
What a knee
I
slapper.
mean, you've seen Big Show, so I mean, everybody
Big
changes.
Show.
Yeah.
Big Show.
There's a time and day that Big Show had hair.
There was.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was.
And then Rosca says AEW is going to buy TNA. And Rosca also gives an update with a hockey score saying the Ducks won, Penguins won.
Okay, cool.
So
Oh,
thanks for that.
The Penguins finally won a game.
John says Chris Jericho is in the new Jay and Silent Bob movie. That's why they were there.
Yeah.
Thank you for that insight. Appreciate it.
There we go.
you.
Thank
I
you.
forgot about that. I knew he was involved in. I knew Jericho was involved, but I forgot exactly.
As long as we have no cross promotion that involves Kevin Smith winning the belt, I think we're okay.
So moving on to all right. So listen, I mean, it was a great match to open up the show. They followed it up with another
I forgot we were still talking about the
They
pay-per-view.
followed it up with another really good match in Eric Rowan and Luke Harper. Even though it's still to me.
Even though you're so mad that it's Luke Harper.
I just don't understand them together again.
I do love that they wear different heavy metal band shirts every time they
they've
wrestle.
been-
I
they-
will say that's cool.
They've had 3 or 4 different tag team names together. Come on, man.
Do
And
they
they don't
even-
look any different.
Do they even have it?
They handed them a Toys R Us bludgeon thing,
for the Bludgeon
a
Brothers.
mallet, and like a mallet that would kill somebody. By the way, first of all, listen.
Speaking of mallets,
Listen, wait. I know we're not on the main event yet.
yeah.
We're ways away from the main event, but I like it.
You know
Keep
what?
going,
No,
Crow.
I'm not gonna. No, I'm gonna save it. But
Yep.
remind me that I wanted to make a reference of the Bludgeon Brothers
And
to the main
mallets.
event and a mallet. Okay, we're not gonna get there yet. We're gonna get there in about 2 minutes because there's really not much else to talk about
Yeah.
the rest of the card.
Sounds like the basis of a joke. But anyway,
So let's get in. We talked about Orton and Ali, and the point that Andy made to me, and Frank, you can relate to this.
Okay.
Because you're a bigger sports enthusiast.
Yes.
I said to him, I don't care how good the match was. You're not drawing interest to people when you announce it 5 hours beforehand with no build. And he said, well, they did a little build on a pre-show and a backstage segment. And I'm like, who watches the pre-show? Particularly on an NFL Sunday when the pre-show starts during the game of the week that is Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers versus the Dallas Cowboys.
Right.
Your primary viewership is from 18 years old to 49. None of those people are watching the WWE Hell in a Cell pre-show. They're watching the NFL Game of the Week, Cowboys and Packers.
Yep.
They're doing fantasy football. They're paying attention to their guys. They're not going to give a shit about a throwaway pay-per-view pre-show. Now, when that game's over, they're switching over and watching that.
Yep.
And I said, so because he said, well, I'm not really a sports guy, so I don't like. I thought it was still done well, and I said, Andy, you got to think of it differently. We're on the air and we're talking. Like, you might like that personally. Hell, if I watched it, I probably would have liked it. But overall, I would have said, why would you do this here? It makes no sense.
What's weird is I think this is what I think they're doing. They want Ali over so bad, and the thing is that, let's be honest here, Ali hasn't exactly moved the needle.
He did before he got hurt.
Well, yeah, but that was before he got
Kofi
hurt.
got his spot.
And then all that momentum went right the hell away. Then he did the make a difference stuff, and that went nowhere.
Like any
So-
typical make a difference gimmick.
So anyway, this is what I think they
Make
did.
a difference, Ali.
Yeah, they probably jumped in and they said, you know what we're going to do? Since we got all this open
Thank God
card
they stopped
spot, they said, we'll throw a Hail Mary. We'll put Ali in a match with Randy Orton. See if Orton can get him over. And that's exactly what they did. They just threw a Hail Mary for Ali to get over. That's pretty much what they did.
And they said, oh, well, remember I took you out of action? Like, no, I don't remember that, actually.
I actually
that was
didn't
like,
either.
Like,
Hey,
randomly,
it was in that Hard Knocks DVD when you got him injured.
we've had no mention of this whatsoever. And then since it happened in, February or January he got hurt?
Months and months ago.
And suddenly I'm going to remember this because you mentioned it for 2 seconds on a pre-show interview during the Packers and Cowboys game.
It's like the Kofi title run. Let's not do the logical rivalries. Let's just throw bullshit out there to start it off with.
Listen, we're going to get in the Kofi title
We'll
run.
talk about that in a minute. But, yeah, you get my point.
I got you. It made no sense to me, Maddie. I don't get it.
No, you know what I think?
Phenomenal match, though. The actual match quality was great.
Here's what I think they did this reasoning for. You know how back in the day, WWE pay-per-views, they would have this shit happen where they would do something on, say, Sunday Night Heat, and then a match would be made for the pay-per-view right then and there. A lot of times it was the opening match of a pay-per-view or the second match on a pay-per-view, but they would do that. I think that's what they were going for here, where they just wanted to have those free-formed matches that is like, okay, this match is happening now and this match is happening now. Look at all this. You didn't expect this when you got Hell in the Cell. To be fair, though, I see exactly where you're coming from because it's like there was no build-up.
Your main demographic isn't watching what you're trying to build for 30 seconds in a promo with Charlie Caruso.
Yeah.
So what's the point?
And again, like the whole thing too is like you have to have the network to see it. Where it's like, okay, yes, when you used to do this with Sunday Night Heat was actually on television.
Yeah.
And people, not a lot of people watched it, but some people did. And more likely on a pay-per-view, they were going to watch it.
See, I would disagree because at the time, the Attitude Era was so hot that they would get people. Yeah. They got rid of that free-for-all shit.
Yeah.
And started having Sunday Night Heat as their Sunday night show and their buffer going into the pay-per-views because they knew they were going to get eyes on that. And the product was hot.
And the thing was that they would do that and they would have matches that would get made from that Sunday Night Heat and put on paper. But, yes, it was a different time period. I think that's what they were shooting for here. I don't think they took that into account.
And you're also talking about at a time where the program started at 8, not 7.
Yes, you are correct.
The pay-per-view started at 8 and not 7.
Yeah.
So even if a game ran over, they could structure the show so that 7:30, we're going to throw that segment out that's going to build a pay-per-view. It could be what closes out Sunday Night Heat. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It could be a middle spot. They would have maybe something on the undercard that could do a slight build for the fans you would get. And then they would roll the clips and highlights. Hey, you're just tuning in. It's kind of what they do now to the point where it's regurgitating it to us on Raw where they're like, this is what you missed earlier tonight. Well, they would do that then. Hey, in case you just tuned in, this is what happened, when the show opened up as, not Midian. That was a stupid name to use. As
if there was a name for Sunday Night Heat, I think Midian would be one of those guys.
As The Rock was showing up, or as Steve Austin was showing up, he got attacked in the parking lot by The Rock, or whatever, like some shit like that.
They had the Rumble in '99. They had the whole Austin couldn't get into the building, so he got the giant monster truck limousine to get into the building.
You had that stuff, so it was so much better executed back then, and it made sense. This makes no sense, Maddie.
I'm not saying that it does. I'm just saying, to me, I think what they're doing is they were trying to freeform a card, which that's what I think what they're doing is, and this is my personal view of what they're trying to do. They're trying to make it seem like everything is not so, okay, this match is happening, this match is happening. They don't want people to walk away from it. Which unfortunately is like, dude, you have a very long show. People are going to probably walk away from it at some point. I think a part of them wants to, get people to watch the whole show. It's like, okay, now this match happening, like, oh, shit, I'm going to watch this now. That's why randomly you throw in the women's tag titles and you make sure people watch it because then the title change happens out of fucking nowhere, basically.
I'm going to wait till we get through the whole card, Maddie, to tell you what I thought about the structure of this show and why it was structured the way it was and why I think it was ridiculous.
Sure, go right ahead.
How much time do we have, Frank?
You have about 5 minutes.
All right. So
still longer than a Brock Lesnar Kofi Kingston.
I'm obviously going to go out of order, but I'm just going to go through them. Corbin and Gable, decent match. Here again, first of all, we've seen this match regurgitated on Raw and SmackDown.
Yes.
And it wasn't a pay-per-view quality match to me. It was the same thing we've seen. Then you give Gable the win. Then they refer back to First of all, you have now your backstage interviewers making fun of this guy and calling him Shorty or whatever the hell they call him. Like, that's really shitty booking. That's a really shitty storyline.
The ring announcer, the backstage person. Michael Cole was actually correct in this. Is like, why the hell did the ring announcer just call him Shorty? Seriously.
It's so stupid. And then we give him this win. Hey, we got the blow off. We're done. Listen, we're going into the draft. We can be done with this now.
Thank God.
But no, now we're going to go back, and he's going to cut this promo about, hey, you call me whatever, but I did it, yada, yada, yada. And then he's going to get destroyed, and he looks like an idiot again. What?
Are they turning Gable into Horowitz?
What?
It's just he's a
What, Maddie?
It's a ridiculous freaking story. I don't understand I don't get what the end game is here. I swear to God they don't have an end game for any of these angles. They just do random shit every week and say, "You know what? That's what we're doing." And you do want to have an end game of some kind, don't you? You can't just, if you're doing any story, you should kind of know where you want it to be, where you want it to finish off. But I don't think they do, honestly.
This week they're hitting reset on the company. So I can understand if they're hot-shotting angles to close them. Again, all right, we were running this Corbin and Gable angle, but we may not be running with it anymore. So let's hot-shot it, get it to the pay-per-view. I actually didn't mind this one as much being announced the day of, because, again, there has been a current running storyline with these guys.
Well, yeah.
So it could still make sense that, hey, we're announcing they're going to have a grudge match. Cool, whatever. But then why do the thing after? That thing that they do.
I don't know.
You had it tied up. It was done. It wasn't going to hurt Corbin. Doesn't matter. He wanted a roll-up. That's his finisher, is a roll-up. He wanted a roll-up. Cool, whatever. It's done and over with. Corbin's got bigger things to worry about. You go from doing a program who he looked like $1 million with The Rock in that program, and that opening to Smackdown. We're going to talk about it. I thought he came out looking like a champ out of that. And now we're going to run this dumb shit on our pay-per-view? Come on, man. What the hell?
I don't know. I've stopped trying to figure out WWE a long freaking time ago. I swear Vince has Alzheimer's.
It's awful, dude. It is freaking awful.
Also probably a touch of dementia on top of it. He probably still thinks Stone Cold Steve Austin's active.
Rosca says he agrees with me. Seth doesn't deserve to be drafted and wear the Universal title on his shoulder. John says, since predictions come true on the show, i.e. Cain Velasquez, now Kevin Smith might win the belt. Please don't put that out there in the universe, Matty.
No, I'm not Nick, so I can't do that. I don't have that power.
Nick ain't putting that out there,
yeah.
I tell you that. Pete Evans says, what's up, Thursday Night Thunder? Why, guy, what's going on? Peter, he says, don't get me wrong, I like AEW, but I truly believe WWE bullshit creative is fueling the fire even more. John says he thinks that Chrome's going to have a heart attack tonight. That's how bad Hell in a Cell was.
Between the sideways ponytail and the whole Corbin deal.
We're going to go to break, and we're going to come back on the other side, and we're going to
get
discuss
you a respirator.
But what I will say to you, John, I don't know why, but it seems like aside from Psycho Sid when he was on, which, by the way, if you missed it,
was awesome.
Go back and check the archives, download the podcast version, check it out on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, wherever you can. Awesome show. Aside from that episode, I feel like the last 3 or 4 lazy bookings, I have been angry at points. And I can't figure out why. It's all triggered by a stupid side ponytail.
And inflatable tube.
And Miss Queen of Botches. And then it just rolls downhill. The rest of the show goes a certain way. We're taking a break, so maybe I'll relax when we come back, guys.
I think it's your new gimmick. Angry Chrome.
This is like
Angry
really
Chrome.
Angry
this is
Chrome
like
is
heel. I'm really earning the heel Chrome gimmick right now.
He's always so angry.
I need to figure out my gimmick, so yeah.
All right,
we
so we're going
Frank,
to
you're the
break.
mystery partner.
Yeah, you're the surprise buddy.
Surprise!
Anyway, all right, so this first half of the pandemonium known as Lazy Booking, brought to you by Gibson Mayer, LLC, your certified public accounts located at 301 Oxford Valley Road in Yardley, PA. Give them a call, 215-369-3300. Tax season will be here before you know it, so be ready, be prepared, and call Gibson Mayer.
On the other side, our specialized physical therapy topic conversation, Hell in a Cell, the pay-per-view, was it a disaster? You can already see where it's going. We'll continue that. If you're on Instagram, Twitter, Periscope, please, guys, make the jump over to Facebook and YouTube. Watch the second half of the show. We will get to AEW. We're going to get to a number of different things. We're going to take a brief break. We'll be right back with you guys in a minute.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Lazy Booking right here on A2DRadio.com. Brought to you by Gibson Mayer LLC, your certified public accounts located at 301 Oxford Valley Road in Yardley, PA. Give them a call, 215-369-3300. Tax season will be here before you know it, so be ready, be prepared, and call Gibson Mayer.
Spoiler alert, I haven't relaxed. Our topic of conversation, Hell in a Cell, was a disaster. It's brought to you by our Dr. Paul Vidal over at Specialized Physical Therapy in Burlington, Cherry Hill, Princeton, New Jersey. SpecializedPhysicalTherapy.com. No appointment necessary. Go over, see our doc, Dr. Paul Vidal. And also, real quick, for all you betting junkies out there, ATS Sports Consulting, promo code A2D, or just A2D, my apologies. You get 20% off any package for any new users. Get in there, get your bets, win some money, buy some of that sweet A2D merch and anything else. Get a few drinks on A2D's dime. Well, not our dime, but
the dime that you earned
on your savings that you're gonna earn from it.
Yeah.
Appreciate you if you made the jump from Twitter, Instagram, Periscope. And again, if you miss any of the show and you're driving in your car in the morning, your morning ride or your ride home in traffic, guys, don't forget we're in podcast version on iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, Google Play. What was the other one you said?
Spotify.
We're all over the place, guys. We're spreading. The takeover is real.
Yeah.
But we're back to the card. Andy said in the chat, "This is why I can't watch you at work anymore, because I yell." I apologize, Andy. Tell your work they're gonna have to start making things trend then on Twitter. Tell them to get on Twitter and then say hashtag, creative stinks, hashtag make Chrome not yell again.
All right, here's the thing with WWE Creative. I was dropped twice as a baby, and if I was dropped a third time, I probably would be stupider, but yet I would still have a higher IQ than WWE Creative.
It's been rough.
Yeah.
See, I digress. I don't want to say it's been rough because there's been a lot of good things. This pay-per-view, though, was terrible. It was not good. Getting in, what was the other match? So you brought up, the women's tag team match.
That came right the hell out of nowhere.
Came out of nowhere, and suddenly, Asuka and Kairi Sane are heels?
Yes. And then they won on top of it.
I'm okay with that.
I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. I was just saying that it just comes right out of nowhere.
And here's Hot Shot Booking. They refer to a win they had however many weeks ago that nobody remembers because it was the only time they've been on television in the last month and a half or 2 months. We're going to go back to that, and that's why they deserve to have a tag team title match.
Oh, and Asuka debuted the Green Mist that she is
which
now using.
I like that. I'm cool with that. They reference back to how it is kind of a staple with some Japanese angles that have been done over the years. Okay with that. I actually enjoy them working as a heel team, but there's no build to it. Again, I don't need 4 weeks of build, but you couldn't even tease it on SmackDown or the SmackDown before Fox. Like, what?
I know you could have had Kari or Asuka jump Alexa and Nikki at any point in time or something like that to that measure to do something.
And oh, by the way,
You know?
if we're going to have them work as a heel, why is Kari Sane coming out as the fucking pirate? What?
Ahoy.
That is kind of
That
that's a babyface gimmick all the way. Yeah,
But they did it right because when she came out on was it Raw? She did, and they did the promo where they spoke in Japanese, which I actually really did enjoy.
I do like the fact they were speaking in Japanese.
I liked that, and then nobody had no idea. It was almost kind of like a heelish kind of a thing with her like giggling and making fun. It was almost like a Japanese version of the Iconics, I guess. But
Guess I'm turning Japanese.
But regardless-
I guess I'm turning Japanese. I really think so.
she came out and didn't have the gimmick suddenly. So if you were going to work it on the pay-per-view, why didn't you could have at least did that, and then it's like, ooh, interesting. Something might happen here. I don't know. It was stupid. I didn't get it. Whatever. Tom says, yo, fam.
Hey.
What's up? Thomas Kennedy McMahon Arnone. We appreciate you. Big Daddy in the house. Yeah, I mean, we have a new women's tag team champions. I liked the match. But I again, there was nothing behind this. And that's the theme of the night.
But
nothing behind this. They put all the focus on the main event.
oh, they did all right.
What other match am I forgetting? Am I forgetting another match? I don't even know.
I think those were the 3 matches that they pulled right the hell
could
out
have
of
swore there was
nowhere.
another one too, but if there was, I don't care about it.
All right.
So
So,
so we had Sasha, we had Becky and Charlotte. We're gonna get to it. We had Becky and Charlotte,
That was on Raw.
or I'm sorry, Bailey and Charlotte.
Yeah.
Dummy. Okay, this was
that
well
side
done.
that side ponytail's getting to you.
Yeah, this was another surprise, by the way. Another surprise, by the way, that I really did think Bailey was going to retain because I thought that she was.
Well, I could hear it.
But why they can't separate these two, Bailey and Sasha?
I wish.
So,
I really do.
but Charlotte wins. Charlotte is now a 10-time women's champion in whatever fashion you want to throw it out there.
Boy, WWE's not being subtle about it. It's like you do realize that when Ric Flair won his 16 world titles, he did it over a 30-some-odd year career, right?
What I like about this, though, as weird as it sounds, it is a really good hashtag trend that they did out there where Char and then the LO is a 10. I liked that. It's good. That's good, marketing or whatever it is. I can't even talk. I'm
Social
so annoyed by
media,
this.
shit.
I'm so annoyed by a lot of this. It's like throwing me off at this point.
Well, it's because we're at Bailey now, so you know.
So guys, I don't even want to talk anymore about Bailey. I'm done with her. Let's get to the main event, guys. So we have Seth freaking Rollins versus The Fiend for the WWE Championship.
Big hype behind this one.
First, all right, question number 1. Did the red lighting bother anybody?
No,
Didn't bother me at all.
it didn't. It reminded me of when they first had Kane in WWE.
Did not bother me.
I need to watch the match.
It was a little gimmicky, but I didn't mind. I mean, it's The Fiend. They've done weird stuff already.
Yeah.
I had no problem with it. I think it's funny that people who complain about stuff like that, which could fit with a character, are the same people that loved the broken Matt Hardy stuff from TNA or Impact, which was ridiculous all on its own.
That was out there.
And but we love it.
Yeah.
Right.
So this is one of those cases of people talking out of two sides of their mouth, which I can't stand that. And I'll call you out on it every day when somebody does that. But so that's what we had. Okay. So we come in and Bray has heavy offense early. He looks indestructible. He looks like this demonic whatever. I was fine with that. Whatever. Then it goes downhill real fast. So let's just address the elephant in the room while I'm calm.
Hey, who you
'Cause
calling
I'm-
me an
'cause
elephant?
I'm not. I know, Frank. I'm sorry. That's your new gimmick now, Frank.
The elephant.
Frank the elephant.
Frank the Elephant. Okay.
Frank. So
Make it happen.
So Seth now takes over,
Mhm.
and he hits a curb stomp,
Yes.
and the Fiend kicks out.
At one.
One. He then hits 2 or 3 curb stomps. I don't know what it is. He kicks out at 1. Seth then hits him with, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, fam, 13 curb stomps. And I might be even missing a couple more.
I don't know. I lost count after the 4th one, to be honest with you.
And he kicks out at 2. But he kicks out. Can we agree that the curb stomp, which was one of the awesomest finishers, is dead?
Is it as dead as the super kick now?
By the way, he also hit him with a pedigree.
Oh, yeah, he did hit him with the pedigree.
He didn't just kill his finishing move. He killed Hunter's finishing move.
And that's hard to do, considering the fact that that's like the most devastating finisher besides the FU. So
that's dead now. Okay. So now we're going to go out, and Seth's going to go to that deep, dark place that he talked about in a promo earlier in the night. In case you caught it, you may not have.
Hey, keeping up with the theme with the booking. Everything's on the fly.
So, my question now is, or not my question. So now now we're bringing weapons into play. Seth's finding everything he can.
All the toys.
So we're hitting him with a chair.
A toolbox.
We get a kick out. Then he starts beating him with a kendo stick. He beats him with chairs. Piles the chairs on him. Now he gets the dreaded toolbox.
Oh, yeah, the toolbox of destruction.
Empties the tools out.
Yeah.
So that's, it's basically a tin can then.
Yeah, it's because, he's not a piece of shit.
Hits a chair, and he kicks out. So now, whoa, we're going for the fucking sledgehammer, guys. Because of everything else that we've seen, that the sledgehammer is what does it.
You should have just pulled out a fucking chainsaw at this point.
We have Eric Rowan and Luke Harper who beat the shit out of the Usos with bludgeoning mallets.
Oh, don't forget, the Fiend had his own mallet, too, in this Hell in the Cell match.
All right. So, listen, there's been a lot of, by the way, there's been a lot of heat for this. But I'm not going to lie. I kind of liked that he did that because it fits the gimmick.
Actually, yeah, when you think about it.
But what was ridiculous about it, almost comedic, so I don't hate it because it was really funny, but it was ridiculous, is when Dio says, oh, my God, we don't know what this thing's going to do. We saw what it did to Rambling Rabbit, a puppet. A puppet, Maddie. A puppet.
Which one?
Is it
Ramblin' Rabbit.
Hey, is it too late to
I forgot
replace?
which one sounded.
Is it too late to replace him with just a puppet on Raw? Because that way the puppet will speak more than 5 words per show.
A puppet, Maddie. A friggin' puppet. Moving on. But the mallet that cleanly destroys the Usos, and they don't call matches on that.
Nope.
We're getting no decision because Seth hits the Fiend
With a sledgehammer.
with the dreaded sledgehammer on top of a chair.
But hold on. You're forgetting. That's Triple H's sledgehammer.
Triple H's sledgehammer.
That's the most devastating weapon in the history of the WWE. Triple H has proven this on multiple occasions with beating how many people with it? Just saying. Can't have it be
It's
too
been
unfair.
used in Hell in a Cell. I don't know how many times. We have had guys jump, get thrown off of the top of the
We
cell.
had the big boss man hung on a noose.
We murdered somebody at WrestleMania 15 hanging from a noose.
In one of the shittiest Hell in the Cell matches ever.
We had dogs humping with a Hell in a Cell.
Forgot about
Oh, God, the dog kennel match. With Al
You-
Snow and Boss.
And yet,
Shit, Bossman
this
again.
is the second pay-per-view in a row with a no finish.
Have you ever noticed that?
Why?
Have you ever noticed this? That Bossman's been a part of 2 of the weirdest segments in the history of the Hell in the Cell. But anyway, go on.
He's also been a part of dragging the Big Show's dad's
That's
casket.
true.
I mean,
so it evens out, and he also fed Al Snow his dog. But anyway,
Yeah.
Guys,
it was literally that.
poor, was it Pepper?
Yes,
Pepper.
it was Pepper. He
May,
fed to
may
Al
Pepper rest in
Snow.
peace.
R.I.P. Pepper.
Yeah.
Pepper will be a better
Guys.
Universal Champion.
WWE
guys,
was
I
so
don't know
sensitive
what to
about that they
say.
put that in the cookbook. But anyway, go ahead.
So
Pepper
the match
steak.
is a no finish, but and the referee pleading with that. This isn't you.
but by the
Don't do it. It's not who you are.
But here's the thing: even if you look at this from a story perspective, this makes no fucking sense because when
This
you
is
think
the
about
most overbooked shit I've ever seen.
Here's the weird part, but here's the funny
Yeah,
part.
go for
It's
it.
like if you think about it for 2 seconds, okay, even if you're doing this based on story and psychology, this is stupid because the Fiend is technically like a serial killer kind of like gimmick here. So wouldn't you want someone to like go all out to like basically try to murder this person in the middle of the ring? If you're doing this based on complete pure, if this was real sort of context, if you're trying to present it that way, it's like this makes no sense that you do the no decision.
Well, I'm hitting him with a sledgehammer. The fact
Yeah.
that I'm taking my foot and squashing his skull
into the mat
13 or 14 or 15
But
or
yet
16
a sledgehammer.
is what does it.
Right.
Or the
Yeah.
fact that I'm dropping him on top of his head, which would disjoint his neck.
Yeah.
The sledgehammer did it, guys.
I
Right.
know, man.
And to quote my favorite guy and yours, X-Pac, saying, "How the hell do you get DQ'd in a Hell in a freaking Cell?"
Yes. How is that possible, considering the fact that we all know Hell in the
Wow.
Cells do not have
But
DQs?
the answer to that was that it wasn't a DQ. It was a no contest.
which is
Allegedly.
just allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Guys,
This
then
is
after, the Fiend gets up. And he puts the mandible claw on Seth.
the strobe effect.
And he bleeds profusely from out of his mouth.
Is it blood or motor oil?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm
Who
gonna.
knows?
I don't know. All I know is that after all this shit has gone down, I could safely say WWE not only overbooked this, they booked themselves into a corner, and they needed some desperate bullshit to get them out of it.
There has been reports that Vince laughed about the reaction at first, but there has been heavy reports that Vince knows he messed this up big time.
Oh, he did all right.
Listen, there is no reason to have The Fiend not come out of this pay-per-view as the champion or don't have it. They didn't even, need to have this pay-per-view to begin with. Because if you're going to do what you're doing with the draft this close, there's what I would say is then there's 2 ways to go about this. Run this like an NXT takeover on the main card. Have the matches that you're promoted, you want to throw in the tag match or the Gable match or whatever, or the Orton and Ali match, fine. 5 matches, whatever. Roll with that. And then if you want to have dark matches for the people that did pay for the event, that's fine. I think it would have saved face a little bit here. Now, the main event was the main event. It was going to be awful regardless.
It was the drizzling shits.
But you can't expect people to invest in another Bray Wyatt character. And I think they thought, oh, it's going to make him come out looking so strong because he got up after 13 curb stomps. And then he came out and he made Seth bleed from his mouth at the end. No, it's another big match of Bray Wyatt that he does not walk away as the champion. And the only time, Matty, before you talk,
Sure, go right ahead.
that he did was because he was a stopgap champion to job out to Orton at WrestleMania, when it should have been the other way around, and it should have been Orton winning the Rumble, and it should have been Bray Wyatt winning the Rumble, and it should have been him taking the title from Orton at WrestleMania 33.
Yes.
It is a travesty of what they've done here.
And not only that, but here's the thing. To add on to the whole, oh, well, it'll make him look strong. I'm like, motherfucker, this ain't 1980 freaking 9. Wrestling is exposed out the ass. You can't just assume, like, oh, we're going to throw all these weapons on him and he's going to get up from all. I was like, yes, maybe in 1989 when kayfabe was still a damn thing and people didn't realize this was all a work. People would have bought it. Like, people would have been like, oh, my God, he hit him with everything and he still got up. I'm like, yeah. Well, what happens is when kayfabe dies, everybody knows that it's not real. Everybody knows that none of these weapons are actually hitting him. Everybody freaking knows this is all worked. So the whole theory of this makes him look so strong is stupid because it's like that doesn't add anything to the character. Everybody knows it's a fucking work. This works back in the day when you had Surfer Sting rolling around, for Christ's sake, and Vader. You don't have that shit anymore. You have The Fiend. He's a loved character. He's over. Throw the fucking belt on him.
Stupid.
Is it really going to kill you?
No, or else they shouldn't have put him in the main event program. And then people have said, well, maybe his motivation isn't to be a champion. It's just to cause destruction.
That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
John Danzo says, I think the first half should be heel Chrome and second half be babyface Chrome. Not in Hell in a Cell, buddy. Not happening.
I don't think in general that's happening.
And then the key to know that WWE knew that they really messed this up, they did not mention this on Raw until 10:24.
Yeah.
And where they just showed a video package that they conveniently fit in a certain way. They pieced it well together.
Now, after this happened, though, I thought to myself, okay, this is what happened. They booked themselves into a corner because they didn't want to take the belt off of Seth, and they realized that they couldn't do anything and they couldn't put the belt on him. And then I also thought that means he's going to SmackDown.
Well, there's a part of me that that's probably the main thing is I felt maybe they got too deep into the booking of this and decided that we're going to put this character on SmackDown. If he doesn't end up on SmackDown, though,
after all of this
is terrible.
Yeah. This, I guess that's the first thing that popped into my mind is like he's going to SmackDown because there's no reason why you do that finish the way you do it with that bullshit and he stays on Raw. It's like, then why didn't you have him win? Like, explain this shit to me. Please, explain it to me.
Listen, we're going to get that. We're going to move on from this. But I just want to say, when you leave your show with your competitor's chants going on and with refund being chanted audibly
and BS,
you need to be ashamed of yourselves. And I am a person who, I'm a wrestling fan, but I am still say WWE is king. This is not acceptable. As a fan, it's not. This was terribly done, and it should have never happened. Mm-hmm. And you took your hottest character, and you wanted people talking, but I don't think this is the kind of talk you want to have.
Nope.
Just a quick thoughts on SmackDown real quick.
I thought it was a really fun debut for them on Fox, and I'm very much looking forward to the draft on Friday.
Yeah, I'm going to be interested to see. I think Brodo's spot on. I think they're going to try to make it more of a sports feel. You could see they had Aaron Andrews do a backstage interview, which is very telling of what the feel that they want this to be. I loved the Rock segment. I liked Becky's interaction. I thought Baron Corbin looked like $1 million in this segment. He played it so freaking well. But that was a great segment. Obviously we had Tyson Fury. We're not going to get deep into the Tyson Fury thing tonight. We'll be talking about that because that's going to be, we're going to be getting the Crown Jewel preview pretty soon.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I did like some people hated it. I liked the Tyson Fury thing with.
Oh no,
Strowman.
I was talking about Crown Jewel.
Oh yeah, no, I know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was okay with it. We'll dig into that maybe next week. But I want to make sure that we take the time to talk about AEW. NXT, just a quick mention. And obviously Cain Velasquez came out, which maybe we don't need to talk about that as much because I know the guys in this very ring talked about. Interesting that he's not technically signed yet, but I would imagine they're deep enough in the discussions that WWE was comfortable with this. And I know Cain is a business guy. From his reputation past, I don't see him accepting this role unless he believes, too, that it's going to get done. So we'll see. NXT, good show. Very good show. Their rating didn't dip very much. They stayed around pretty much the same, I think, 100,000 less viewers. Not bad for not having Adam Cole and Undisputed Era on the show. Pretty good. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think
You watched more of it than I did. I watched the whole show yet.
I watched a decent portion of it, and it was very good. They opened it up with a great match with Cruiserweight title on the line, Leo Rush, Drew Gulak, Leo going over, which makes sense because he was coming back, and there was a lot of hype behind him. Yeah. And, I think they had a great main event with Walter and Kushida. So, there you go. NXT is such a really fun wrestling product. It's hard, really, to throw two guys together and not have a good match on that show. It really is.
Yeah. Before we get to AEW, Raw was a throwaway. It was clearly a throwaway outside of the Tyson Fury promo.
What? You didn't like Lana in bed with Bobby Lashley, and then they cut to Rusev, and then Randy Orton and Baron Corbin are laughing at him off to the side.
I got to tell you.
This fucking storyline.
This was a conversation I had today. 20 years ago, I would have loved this. But it makes me cringe that this is like this. It makes no sense. It's stupid. It came out of nowhere.
It did.
We're smarter now in terms of, like, you're telling us about, like, something on social media that I don't recall ever even seeing about whatever. It's bad. It's not good. It's not with people that anyone really cares about. It's uncomfortable, and it's ridiculous. I don't get it. I just don't get it, Maddie.
I don't either. I think they assume kayfabe's still alive. It's not. It's been dead for years.
It's been dead since the MSG incident.
Oh, you bring Rusev back to be the ridiculous father of
Maria's baby. For
Rusev deserves better, and that's on Paul Heyman. This is Heyman booking.
This is completely on Heyman.
And I love Heyman, and he does a lot of great stuff. This is the bad that you get with Heyman. This is bad booking.
This just has the whole Beulah being pregnant shit written all the fuck over it, and it was that was a disaster. That's a disaster.
This is bad. All right, let's get over to AEW here, guys. I know we're a little. We got about 15 minutes left here.
All right.
AEW program, Head and Shoulders. I thought they vastly improved over last week. Top to bottom, great show. You mentioned earlier, I think, great match to open up with.
Absolutely. Yeah. Private Party and the Young Bucks, first matchup of the tag team title tournament. It's a great match. And an upset win on top of it.
Yeah, I loved the upset. I thought this was going to be a squash match by the Young Bucks, but, man, Private Party pulling off that upset, you have me sold on this tourney.
Critique number one.
Yeah.
I'm still over JR. I don't need JR.
I had a feeling you were going to say that.
I want Tony Schiavone, and I want Excalibur, and I want JR out of the booth. Not going to lie. Yeah. His JR-isms, you were talking about Morrow, right?
Yeah.
And I had the conversation with somebody else. It was funny you brought up Morrow. The Morrow-isms,
they're
a little old. Over it. It's kind of ridiculous. Yeah. People shit on Cole for, it's boss tie, whatever. Why? This is the talking out of both sides of people's mouths. Let's dump on Cole, who I think is a much better commentator than any of them. And we proved it at the UK takeover.
Oh, yeah, he had a tremendous...
Or the UK tournament when they let him just go.
They let him do it, yeah.
He is wonderful. But because he's Michael Cole and he replaced JR, people dump on him.
Yeah.
And Michael Cole is very good. But we're still hearing the same shit from 1998 and 1999 from JR. Why do we shit on King, who does the same thing? But we're going to praise JR, who sounds like he's drunk half the time and doesn't know what's going on around him.
It's because JR doesn't give a shit. Like when you listen to him, it's like he doesn't care. It's like he's getting paid a lot of money. He's probably guaranteed a spot because, that's AEW trying to get street cred with the rest of the smarks is to have JR there, So it's like, I don't give a shit. It's like, I got a safe spot, So I really honestly think he just doesn't care. It is what it is,
I'm over JR. We're going to move on from that. But I had to get it out there because Maddie knew I was going to do it.
Oh, I knew you were.
Did not get better for me this week.
Still, though, man, I still am very happy to hear Tony Schiavone. I'm very
love
happy.
Hearing Schiavone back.
He still has that great voice that excitement in his voice. It's so awesome.
But you're spot on, Frank. I mean, the element of surprise of this was what elevated it, and
Yeah.
it's the first time I'm seeing them
Right.
in a match build
Exactly. Yeah.
non-WWE or like NJPW stars, like
Right.
the people we know.
And especially how Private Party began, like on AEW, like they had a really great match at it was at Fyter Fest, and the fans loved them so much that they had to come over to the Young Bucks came over to their promotion at the time.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, here's a contract from AEW. They were that impressed. And to see where they're at now, where they upset possibly the hottest tag team in wrestling, that's huge.
The entrance, by the way, is awesome with the
Oh,
red,
yeah.
with the rope.
Yeah, the rope and
I
the
love it.
bouncer. Love it.
I love it. Great stuff.
Yeah.
Hot match. Great to see them
Yeah.
move on.
If I had a dream book match already, I would love to see Private Party face off with Street Profits because that would be so much
That
fun
would be
if that was a rivalry right there.
That
Oh
would be
my
really
God,
great.
that would tear the house down.
So obviously we had that. We move on. We had
Chris Jericho's promo introducing the Inner Circle.
we had Darby Allin versus Jimmy Havoc.
Jimmy Havoc.
Another good match.
The winner getting a shot at Jericho for this upcoming show in
Philly. Yeah.
Good to see them not in like a hardcore
Yeah.
setting.
Yes, they were
To
actually
show that these
wrestling.
guys can work. Because my
Right.
only experiences, honestly, with Jimmy Havoc
We're all
are
hardcore matches. Yeah.
hardcore.
Or hardcore base spots.
Right, like in the battle royal at the very
Yep.
what was it? Double or nothing.
Double or
Double or
nothing.
nothing. Yeah.
So yeah, really good match.
Really good match.
I was really impressed with Darby Allin too.
yeah.
I think, and he obviously would come into play later in the night. I
Exactly.
think that him and Jericho could very quietly have a match that people will talk about
Right.
for a while.
And,
next week.
and the one thing I loved in that match, that coffin drop was probably the best one I've ever seen him
Yeah.
do on AEW. Probably the most beautifully executed coffin drop. Compared to last week with Chima, this one was better.
Agreed.
I think that was a very good match. It showed that Jimmy Havoc and Darby can actually wrestle. When you give them the opportunity, apparently they just choose to be hardcore wrestlers. So,
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Before we get to the Jericho promo, another match we had Jon Moxley and Shawn Spears.
Another good
Yes.
match.
Love Tully Blanchard, man. Tully is such a good manager.
Now, let me ask you a question. Do you feel like maybe they burned this and that maybe they should have saved this for like maybe a pay-per-view somewhere down the line?
It could have been. It was a really good match.
Yeah.
I think it was a very good match. I just think like it's like I get that they have like their guys already and they have that limited roster, but I feel like, I would have rather seen this on a pay-per-view. Just my little nitpick there of that. It's like I would have saved this, would have had a rivalry build up between these two, and then have them have a match at a pay-per-view.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed this match a lot. Shawn Spears is really good.
He's a really good wrestler.
I couldn't get past the Perfect 10 gimmick. I couldn't in WWE. And for me too, I know people like to be marks and have their fun with in the crowd and stuff. The 10 counts on countouts was annoying to me. It was fun the first time it was done, but the fact that it was something that went on, it was. But I love the serious side of him and letting him just work with these guys. Him and Tully, I think Tully makes him that much more appealing.
Yeah.
It's really working really well. He's one of the guys that I definitely can see being out of the WWE structure could become a big star.
Yeah, because it's not meant for everybody, obviously, and he's
Juice
perfect.
Robinson's an example of a
Yes.
guy like that.
I mean,
Yep.
look how big he is in Japan. And to be honest with you, if his contract runs out with NJPW, he may show up in AEW.
Good.
Who knows?
Yeah. Jericho promo. The Inner Circle is the name of this
Yeah.
faction.
I always thought he was going to say Inner Sanctum. I really honestly thought he was going there.
So we had the kind of the Jericho. Trying to think of the right word, Maddie. You used it earlier.
The Jericho stable.
Well, we had him, for lack of better terms, jerking off all the marks.
Oh,
Quite a
yeah.
bit.
He had the.
Sorry,
yeah.
I wanted to use a better term, but I really couldn't because that's what it is.
That's the term
Pleasuring
I
the
use.
marks.
No, 'cause-
Pleasuring the mark.
Pleasuring the marks.
Yeah, I call it jerking off the smart marks because that's exactly what he's doing. Like
He took
this-
shots at WWE Creative.
He did.
The We the People, that
Yeah.
gimmick sucked. It was done by lousy creative, yada, 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 whatever. it was funny moments for sure.
Yeah.
But he talked about Sammy Guevara. I liked that he took the time and went through everybody and kind of introduced them, which is what AEW should be doing with their talent.
Yes.
Let's introduce everybody.
Which is one of the big criticisms you can have of JR. He clearly doesn't do any research on him. Now, Shivani does.
Yes.
And so does Excalibur. Well, Excalibur knows some of them from back in his days as a wrestler, but other ones, he and Shivani are both doing research on them, clearly.
Yeah. This was good stuff, though. Good promo. I thought he did a really good job of introducing everybody. Man, the shot at Dusty. Oh.
I love that one.
Yeah.
That was a good one. I like that. That was probably my favorite part of the whole promo right there.
So he essentially comes in and he says, that what do you call him? Cody?
Oh, he called
an
Cody
entitled, and
he also called him a stupid son of a bitch to
Yeah.
start off with.
That entitled son of a bitch, Cody, was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. And he said, I hate your family.
Yeah.
And he said, I never liked your father.
he was a jerk.
He was a jerk.
Now,
Ooh.
yeah, that's a good one.
Taking the dig.
Yeah, he's like, I hate your father. I thought he was a jerk. I was like, I hate your brother. I think he's a moron.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah.
Great promo from him.
I think it's safe to say, and Jericho's whole little touch of the bubbly,
Yeah.
all that. Is it safe to say Jericho's kind of like Rock now? Like anything he says just turns into freaking gold.
And especially-
and it can be
He
put
might
on
be
a
as
t-shirt.
close.
Yeah.
It's as close as you're gonna get.
And even with
in
heel
the-
Jericho, it doesn't feel like he's the heel, but he's like the anti-heel of AEW. Like you want to hate him, but you just love what he's saying out of every single promo.
Like, again, lack for a better term, he's that guy who's like, that guy's such a dickhead, but he's awesome.
Yeah.
Like, but this was really good. And obviously we had our main event. I forgot to mention
The women's match.
I forgot to mention Pac and Omega and all that too.
Yeah.
Interesting point.
That
The
was-
women's match was really good. That's setting up Britt Baker and
Rio, yeah.
for
Yes.
next week.
Yes.
That'll be a really good match.
That's
That
going to
is
be a good
gonna
match.
Great match.
And I don't know when the next time I'll be back on Lazy Booking, but I will say that
Well, listen, Frank, we got an open chair. You're always welcome if you want to jump in.
I know.
So keep that in mind.
I will.
But
You'll know if we have surprise guests coming in.
Yeah.
I will
Or third men, but
I will
Who's the third man?
But I will say, but that whole Pac and Omega and Moxley thing, it's like, boy, that's a tangled freaking web if I've ever seen one. You have Moxley, who still has his shit he hasn't resolved with Omega. Then Pac attacks Omega because Pac is upset that he beat him at All Out. Where the fuck is this going? Like, seriously.
No, I mean, that's going to be a lot to keep an eye on. Obviously, we had the main event where it was what we thought it was going to be. It was a decent match.
yeah, it was a good match.
It was the feuds coming in. The lights out thing. We talked about that. Are we going to overkill this now?
I think they're starting to overkill it because it's like, I understand if you're bringing in somebody, but here's the weird part. So you just have Swagger come in regularly. He just jumps into the ring. It's like, oh, shit, it's Swagger. But then you do the lights off and the lights on and it's Cody. I'm like, but it's not a big reveal. Like, that's usually how the lights – what? Like, that – I don't know. That seems like that was really stupid.
Highlight of this was the tease of MJF turning on Cody, which he did not. But it's weird because he's like a heel, super heel, but kind of was in a face role there.
Right.
Well, this is what happens when you have people who love heels and they boo baby faces. Weird shit like this is going to be happening.
Right.
Best spot of this match, and we'll end on this, or best spot after.
Oh.
How badass was it with Darby
Darby's
Allin
Oh, yeah.
Darby.
skateboarding down the ramp and then hitting him with a flying knee?
I love that.
That was insane.
That was a great spot.
That could have gone so bad.
Yeah.
And it went so
and
well.
it went so well.
And it went so well, guys.
All I have to say is they better do a skateboard spot in Philly.
There has to be
if they're teasing us, so that better
I
happen
think that's
going to
happen. I'm going to see at least one good skateboard spot.
Maybe he'll hit.
Oh.
Maybe he'll do an
Here's
ollie and he'll hit Jericho while he's doing.
Here's what I'm thinking. He does a skateboard spot. Judas effect.
Jericho hits him with the Judas effect.
Judas effect.
Oh, Jericho does this. Oh,
That's a good call, Frank.
I think
I like it.
I like that.
We like to make predictions, so we'll see.
Hey, maybe Frank has
maybe
the
that'll
power.
be the Cain Velasquez of this week.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Cain Velasquez of the week.
Guys.
There you go. Your new award.
It's a new one.
Yeah.
Guys, great show. Fun stuff. Maddie will be at AEW next week.
Oh, I can't wait.
I might spring for a last-minute ticket. I don't know if I feel like it, but we'll see. If I do, I'll also be able to give my live feedback, and I'll try to meet up with you when we're there.
Yeah, absolutely. And, hey, you never know. This might be the only time AEW is actually in Philly. Come to think
see
about
how
it.
they do. You never know.
With this TNT deal.
Yeah. Maddie, give our sponsors.
All right, then. So this whole thing of Lazy Booking was brought to you by Gibson Mayer LLC, your certified public accounts located 301 Oxford Valley Road in Yard, PA. Give them a call 215-369-3300. Tax season will be here before you know it, so be ready, be prepared, and call Gibson Mayer.
And again, shout out to our other sponsors here, Dr. Vidal, our doctor over at Specialized Physical Therapy. You guys know you can find him in Burlington, Cherry Hill, and Princeton, New Jersey. And again, for our sports junkies out there, ATS Sports Consultants, 20% off, new users on the package when you use the promo code A2D. So make sure you do that so you can afford to buy that A2D merch. Hit up Tom for that. But until next week, guys, we appreciate you. Stay tuned. Hockey Happy Hour, the real Triple H coming at you.
Oh, yeah.
10 p.m. with all the cast of characters. A lot of good stuff talking about Flyers and everything else. So for the Ginger Gang, for our mystery partner Tag, we appreciate Frank. We appreciate you guys. We'll talk to you next week.